Welcome to another episode of History Uncovered, the podcast where we explore significant events that have shaped our world. I'm your host, and today, we delve into one of the most pivotal moments in history, the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Get ready to immerse yourself in a detailed and thoroughly researched account of this infamous attack that propelled the United States into World War II. December 7, 1941, a seemingly ordinary Sunday morning in the peaceful harbor of Pearl Harbor, located on the island of Oahu, Hawaii. However, the tranquility of this paradise was about to be shattered. In the early hours, an unsuspecting naval base was ruthlessly assaulted by Japanese forces, altering the course of world history forever. The origins of this catastrophic event trace back to Japan's aggressive expansionist policies in the late 1930s. Fueled by a desire for economic dominance and territorial expansion, Japan sought to secure its place among the world powers. The attack on Pearl Harbor was a calculated move, aimed at crippling the United States Pacific Fleet and removing any opposition to Japan's imperial ambitions. To understand the full scope of this attack, we must explore the circumstances and events that led up to it. Japan's political landscape during this time was complex, with a militaristic government controlling the nation. Emperor Hirohito, though a constitutional monarch, had limited power over military decisions, ultimately leaving the decision-making to military leaders and factional politics. Tensions between the United States and Japan had been rising for years due to conflicting interests in the Pacific region. In response to Japan's invasion of China in 1937, the United States imposed an embargo on Japan, restricting crucial resources such as oil and steel. This move severely affected Japan's ability to maintain its war effort in China and fueled their animosity toward the United States. Japan's military leaders perceived the embargo as a direct threat to their imperial aims. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, a prominent strategist of the Imperial Japanese Navy, devised a plan to deliver a decisive blow to the United States Pacific Fleet, allowing Japan to establish control in the Pacific without foreign interference. On that fateful day, Japan deployed a powerful naval task force under the command of Vice Admiral Chuchi Nagumo. This formidable fleet consisted of aircraft carriers, battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and support vessels. Its mission was to launch a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, catching the United States off guard and crippling its naval capabilities. At approximately 7:55 a.m., the attack commenced with a wave of over 350 Japanese aircraft descending upon Pearl Harbor. The sound of explosions echoed through the air as bombs and torpedoes rained down upon the unsuspecting American sailors and soldiers stationed there. Within minutes, several battleships, including the USS Arizona and the USS Oklahoma, were ablaze and sinking to the harbor floor. The sky was filled with the acrid smoke of burning ships and the cries of wounded servicemen. The attack on Pearl Harbor lasted for over 2 hours and left an indelible mark on the United States. The toll was devastating. 2,403 Americans were killed, and a further 1,178 were wounded. The Japanese, however, suffered minimal losses, with only 64 soldiers killed. As news of the attack spread, shock and outrage gripped the American people. President Franklin D. Roosevelt addressed the nation, delivering a speech that would become one of the most iconic in U.S. history, declaring Pearl Harbor as a date which will live in infamy. The following day, December 8, 1941, the United States officially declared war on Japan, joining the Allied forces in World War II. The bombing of Pearl Harbor had far-reaching consequences, not only for the United States but for the world as a whole. It forced a reluctant America out of its isolationist stance and into the global conflict. The event galvanized the nation, uniting its citizens and sparking a surge of patriotism and military enlistment. It also dramatically altered the balance of power in the Pacific, as the United States emerged as a formidable force capable of challenging Japan's imperial aspirations. As we reflect on the somber and significant events of Pearl Harbor, it's essential to remember the countless acts of heroism and sacrifice displayed by the men and women who served their country on that tragic day. The courage, resilience, and determination shown in the face of adversity continue to inspire generations and remind us of the price of freedom. We hope you found this episode of History Uncovered enlightening as we peel back the layers of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Join us next time as we explore another pivotal point in our collective past. Until then, remember to delve into the annals of history and uncover the stories that shape our world. This is the Information Podcast, where we talk about historical events. Now to your host. Hello and welcome to History Uncovered, where an event changes history. I'm your host, and I'll be leading you through a deep exploration of one of the darkest chapters in human history, the Holocaust. This episode will delve into the origins, progression, and legacy of this horrific event. I must warn you, this content contains graphic descriptions and may be distressing for some listeners. Now, let's start by understanding the historical context leading up to the Holocaust. The Holocaust, also known as the Shoah, refers to the systematic genocide of 6 million European Jews by Nazi Germany and its collaborators during World War II. This campaign of hate and destruction had deep-seated roots, evolving over time. Anti-Semitism, or hostility towards Jews, had existed for centuries, but the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party in Germany gave it a powerful weapon. Hitler's political platform contained virulent anti-Semitic ideology, blaming Jews for Germany's economic troubles and societal issues. With this rhetoric, the Nazis secured power in 1933 and began implementing discriminatory policies. These oppressive measures targeted Jews, stripping them of their citizenship, rights, property, and dignity. Boycotts of Jewish businesses, segregation, and harassment became commonplace under Nazi rule. However, the true horrors were yet to come. The Nazi regime's reign of terror escalated with the onset of World War II in 1939. As Germany expanded its territory, Jewish populations fell under its control. Hitler's final solution emerged, a plan to exterminate all Jews within reach. This marked the transition from persecution to genocide. Concentration camps became the epicenter of Nazi atrocities. In these camps, millions were imprisoned, tortured, and murdered. 6 death camps, including Auschwitz and Treblinka, were established solely for the purpose of mass murder. The Holocaust became an industrialized killing machine, with efficient systems of gas chambers, crematoria, and mass graves. However, it is important to emphasize that amid this unimaginable suffering, there were remarkable stories of resistance, resilience, and survival. Many individuals risked their lives to save Jews from persecution, forming an underground network of rescuers. Survivors of the Holocaust bear witness, telling stories of defiance, hope, and the importance of remembrance. The Holocaust ended with the defeat of Nazi Germany in 1945. But its profound impact continues to reverberate today. The atrocities committed during this time shook the world's conscience, leading to the formulation of international human rights laws and the establishment of the United Nations. Holocaust remembrance serves as a solemn reminder of the consequences of hate, prejudice, and intolerance. Museums, memorials, and educational initiatives strive to keep this dark part of history alive, so that we never forget and never allow such a tragedy to occur again. Now, let's take a moment to honor the memory of the millions who lost their lives during the Holocaust and reflect on how we, as individuals and societies, can work towards creating a world where hatred and discrimination have no place. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Holocaust. I hope that this episode has shed some light on this tragic chapter in our shared history. Remember to educate yourself and others, act against injustice, and foster a more compassionate and inclusive world. Until next time, take care and be kind to one another. Thanks for listening. Check out my other podcast. Next podcast next week.